School. I am joined by Mrs. Martin, who is our 9th grade school counselor, which means she's going to be everyone in this room's counselor for next year. And we came today to talk with you about James Caldwell High School because we are already planning for all of you to come and join us. So we're here today to present some information, a little bit about what classes look like, what extracurriculars look like, and just so that you can start to get a little bit of an understanding about what to expect when you join us next year as 9th graders, okay? So like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about academics, kind of a lot about academics. We have a lot of opportunities at James Caldwell, but I'm always going to remind everyone that we're students first, so I always make sure that I prioritize that. But we have a lot of other stuff going on there as well. So we just wanted to make sure that you understand a little bit about all of the opportunities. Okay, so I'm going to start with the academics. And what I want to make sure that everyone understands is that when we get to the high school, I start keeping track of pretty much everything for you guys. So starting with academics, we need to make sure that we hit all of your graduation requirements. So from the get-go, I make sure that I give you a schedule that keeps you on track for graduating in 4 years. So next year, you're going to be taking an English class, a world cultures class, which is your social studies, a math class, which will be either Algebra 1 or Geometry, depending upon what math you're in right now, a biology class for science, and then a world language. So I know that everyone's taking a world language right now, but we have some options for you up at the high school. So those world languages are Spanish, Italian, and we also add Latin. And then we'll make sure that we give you health or PE in your schedule next year, because I make sure that you get that in your schedule every year in the state of New Jersey. Okay? That is 6 classes that we talked about, which means there's room in your schedule for 2 more classes, what we call electives, kind of like the cycle classes that you take here. And this is the part where you actually get a little bit of choice, and to let us know what you're interested in so we can hopefully look to get those classes into your schedule. Okay. All of those academic classes that we're going to put in your schedule, they're going to be based upon your teacher's placement for you. So they're going to take a look at how you're doing this year. They have a pretty good understanding about what our classes are like at the high school. And they're going to say, okay, based upon how my student's doing right now in my class, I know that this is going to be the best placement for them. That's based upon your performance in your class, okay? So that's why it's really important that, and hopefully you've been working really hard up until this point, and you make sure that you keep up that good work during the course of the rest of your 8th grade year. Okay. So like I said, I keep track of everything. What we put in your schedule next year gets you on track for graduating in 9 years. Over the 4 years. Over the course of your 4 years, you're going to make sure that you take 4 years of English, 1 year of world cultures, 2 years of U.S. history, 3 years, probably more likely 4 years of math, 3 years of science, a half a year of personal finance or economics, 2 years of world language, and that's the same world language. So if you take Spanish next year and you decide that, hey, I want to branch out a little bit, I think that I would like to give Italian a try, that is okay, but just know that 1 year of Spanish and 1 year of Italian doesn't make the 2-year graduation requirement. It needs to be 2 years of the same world language. And believe it or not, we actually also keep track of your electives. So 1 year of practical art, we'll explain a little bit more about what that means. 1 year of a visual or performing art in your schedule. And then 4 years of PE and health. You get that in your schedule every year.
Hi guys. So again, I'm Mrs. Martin. I will be your school counselor next year. All right, and I just want to say first too, I know some of you are thinking about private school, which makes me sad because then you won't be at James Caldwell, but that's fine. What we need for you to do though is listen and do all of these things because sometimes plans change, okay? So we want you to know all these things. We're going to make a schedule for you just in case, okay? So keep listening even though you might have a different plan. Also, over 140 of you have already joined my Google Classroom, which is amazing, so thank you. I'm gonna post this or maybe recording of it, okay, so that you can look at it again, but there'll be lots of information in there for you. All right, things to expect. You will have 6 classes each day next year, all right? The way our schedule works is you'll have 3 classes in the morning, then you'll have lunch, and then you'll have 3 classes in the afternoon. The classes that are in the morning change, and the classes that are in the afternoon change. It sounds really complicated, but it's not. You'll get it pretty quickly. Expect to have homework every single night. And homework counts. It's really important that you do your homework. All right, attendance counts. You have to be in class every day on time in order to get credit for the course. If you miss class too many times, then you can't get credit for it. So you might be sitting in a class and then have to retake it, which would kind of stink. All right, you can lose credit in a course, or you could lose credit for the whole year. We never want to see that happen. But if you're absent too many times or you fail classes, you might have to retake those classes either over the summer or the next year, and we don't want to see that happen to you. All right. When you are absent, and it's probably similar to what you go through here, but when you're absent, you are responsible for doing the work that you missed. So we expect you to reach out to your teachers, say, hey, I was absent, what do I need to do? All right, and then you have some time to get that done. All right, things to expect. Extra help, we have extra help options. All right, teachers are available before or after school. Sometimes they're available during lunch. We have a math lab and a writing lab that are alternate days. Okay, so if you need help in math, there's a math teacher available 2 or 3 times a week. If you need help with your writing or anything else having to do with English class, there's a writing lab 2 or 3 times a week. We also have academic support after school, which is a time that's set aside for you to get some work done. Okay, and it's optional. You can let me know that you need it, or your teachers will let me know they think you need it, or your parents will let me know they think you need it. All right, and then we'll get you set up with that. We also have peer tutors, okay, students who are juniors or seniors, who are really good at doing school stuff, who are willing to help other students who need a little bit of help. Time management. There are so many cool things to do at the high school. We're going to talk about those in a minute, but that's a lot, right? You have to be a student, and then you might want to be involved in sports or in clubs or activities. You might want to do the play, right? You're going to learn a lot about time management. You're going to learn how to prioritize, meaning choose what's important and do that first. Okay. Is it your turn?
Okay, so again, I'm the lady who's always keeping track of things. So I want to talk with you a little bit. Ms. Martin just alluded to the fact that attendance does count. We do keep track of it, including tardies, including being late to class. But again, getting back to the academic piece, we make sure that we count the classes that you take, the credits that you earn to meet your graduation requirements. But something that we start keeping track of right from the very start when you enter James Caldwell High School is your GPA. Just by a show of hands, does anybody know what a GPA is or what that stands for? Okay, great. So your GPA is your grade point average. So you guys probably know what your GPA is at the end of the marking period because that helps you to know whether or not you've made the honor roll. We do that at James Caldwell High School as well. We calculate a GPA at the end of each marking period to see whether or not students make the honor roll or the high honor roll. But more importantly, you'll start to hear high school students talk more about their GPA when it comes time to talk about what their plans are beyond high school and when they're applying to colleges, okay? And so that's when we take your final grade for each class and start to calculate an average for you. So again, it's used to measure, kind of a little bit of a comparison about how you're doing in your classes compared to other students. But right now I want you to worry about comparing yourself to yourself, all right? At the end of each year, when you get a final grade in each of your classes, we'll calculate your annual GPA and your cumulative GPA. That cum GPA is probably what, if you have older brothers or sisters or cousins who are applying to colleges, you probably hear them say that a lot, okay? And I want to give you a little bit of information about a GPA, and I want to tell you a little bit of a secret about why ninth graders, as far far as GPA is concerned, have all of the benefits and all of the advantages. Usually when we talk about high school, we talk about the seniors, maybe the juniors, having like these upperclassmen privileges, and they're able to maybe get into their elective a little bit easier than you're able to get into yours, or we're talking about seniors maybe being able to leave lunch during lunchtime. So those are the things that the upperclassmen have advantages that you can look forward to. But here's where ninth graders have the best advantage in the entire school, and that's when it comes to GPA. Because when you walk into the building next year, you start with a clean page, and you start working on your GPA from day one. So if you come in there and you do really good work, and you get really solid grades in each of your classes, and end the year with a really strong GPA, you've put yourself in a really good position to maintain that strong GPA for the remainder of your high school years. A lot of times when I talk with seniors and I talk to them about their GPA, they say, man, I really wish I would have done better my freshman year. I didn't do so great then, and that's what's really pulling me down. So if you have a nice, strong, and solid GPA your freshman year, it's really easy to maintain that by keeping up your grades. It's really difficult after freshman year to get that GPA to jump up a lot. We can always make improvements and make little baby steps, which if that's where you're at, that's fantastic. We always look to grow ourselves and improve ourselves. But it's really hard to jump that GPA by a lot after your freshman year. So I tell you that now so that you can kind of go in there with that mindset and set that goal for yourself. Because colleges, when we look, again, I'm thinking more way into the future, but this is my job, this is what I do. Colleges are gonna look at your grades and GPA from 9th, 10th, and 11th grade when we get ready to apply to colleges, which means your freshman year is gonna be 1/3 of that. So you wanna make sure that you set it as strong as you can. Now, I will also let you in on a little secret. I don't want everyone to come in and do a super job their freshman year and think, okay, I did exactly what Ms. Blackman did. I did really well in all of my classes. I got straight A's maybe. I'm gonna take the next 3 years off. Because the other secret about GPAs is even though it's really hard for it to jump up a lot, it's not so difficult for it to jump down a lot. So I wanna make sure that when you come in and start strong, that you stay strong, okay? So I tell you that now so you can kind of make a decision for yourself about how you want to approach your classes and make sure you get all that homework done because we know that it's going to count for something so that you can put yourself in the best place possible from day one because you're going to hear it say it a lot. But at high school, everything counts. So we're keeping track of stuff from the very beginning. So I want to make sure I share that information with you right away.
For those of you who like fractions, 1/3. All right, there we go. All right. How many of you in here think you might want to play a sport next year? Awesome. It's okay if you don't. I was not real sporty. I get it. It's totally okay. But if you do, here are some of the sports that we offer, okay? So in the fall, maybe you want to be involved in cheerleading, cross country, field hockey, football, soccer, girls tennis, volleyball. The deadline for paperwork, we're going to mention this again later, I think, is July 15th. So it's over the summer. You have to get your paperwork in if you want to play a fall sport. Just keep that in mind, okay? Winter sports, we have basketball, bowling, cheerleading, ice hockey, swimming, winter track, wrestling, and in the spring we have baseball, golf, lacrosse, softball, spring track, and boys tennis. We have a lot of things that you can do as a ninth grader. Maybe sports aren't your thing, okay? But you might want to get involved anyway. Getting involved introduces you to people that you're not going to see in your daily, day-to-day go-to-class life. Right? They're going to introduce you to other people that have the same interest as you, just like a sport would, right? So we have different things that you can do. We have student government, school publications, we have service clubs. I run one of them with another teacher. We have honor clubs, we have music and performance, special interests. So here's just like a tiny smidgen of the special interest clubs that we offer. Art and illustration, that's a new one, so is BIPOC. Environmental protection, FBLA is kind of new, that's future business leaders. We have a gaming club where you can play video games and then put it on your high school resume as a club. mock trial, photography, self-advocacy, and so many more. Right? So many things you can get involved in. All right, like Ms. Blackman said, everything counts. We say this over and over and over again. We expect you to come into the high school with a tiny bit of maturity. All right? And we want you to understand that the things that you do and say are really important. So we just keep saying everything counts. Your attendance counts. Obviously, academics count. Your behavior counts. And your involvement. All of that counts if future you wants to go to college. But it also counts in having you have a great high school experience. If any one of these things falls off, you could be a great student who attends all the time, who's really involved, who's kind of acting like a jerk. You're not going to have a great high school experience because you're going to be speaking with the vice principal a lot. Okay? If any of these things fall off, it's going to taint how high school is for you. So all of these things are important. They all lead you to success in high school and set you up for success beyond. Whether it's college, or getting a job, or going into the military, whatever it is you choose to do beyond high school, all four things are going to be important for you to practice. Some things to think about, all right, problems that we have encountered with our ninth graders sometimes. Y'all have social media, and we expect you to use it responsibly. And when you choose to not use it responsibly, you run into some consequences. Okay? So you really need to make good choices about the things that you are posting, the things that you are sharing, the things that you are sending around to other students. You need to make good choices. Your actions always have consequences. You may not see them right away, but they will always have a consequence. We do have a harassment, intimidation, and bullying specialist in our building. Right now it is Mrs. Imbriaco. And she is the one who will meet with you if you are doing any of those three things. And I really, really hope that next year, none of my ninth graders need to go through that process. That is my hope and my dream, all right? The things you say and you do have the ability to make somebody's life better or worse. So why would you choose the second one? I see all these things that you've written on here, and they are amazing. I hope that you carry that positivity through into your high school years. All right, more things to think about. Oops. All right, start with good habits. Habits are habits, but habits are hard to break. So if you start with good habits, doing your homework, getting extra help, staying after class to talk to your teacher, studying for tests. If you start with good habits, that's great. If you start with bad habits, they're real hard to break. Okay? And here's something, this is like my little Debbie Downer moment. Students can, and they do, fail classes for the year. If you fail a class for the year, you need to go to summer school, which costs at least $200, or you need to retake it your sophomore year and be a 10th grader in with 9th grade students. So think about those 7th graders now. Do you want to be in a class with them? If you don't have to be, okay? So that's my little Debbie Downer moment, but that is important for you to understand. When you come into 9th grade, you want to come in strong. You want to come in hard and fast and strong with those good habits and those good intentions, okay? All right, that's me. All right, your teachers want to help you. Teachers don't get paid enough to not want to help students, right? That's kind of why they're teachers, is so they can help students, not for the fat paychecks. Administration, me, we are all here to help you. All right, I told my 9th graders this year, if you're having a problem, don't go to another teenager. Go to someone who can help fix the problem. We are all here to help you. All right? I only meet with 9th graders. My job every year is to help welcome the 9th graders into the building. So any issues that you're having, any questions you have, if you're just not sure where you need to go for something, you can always ask me. I know most of the things. You will be, you were already invited to my Google Classroom, so please accept the invite, because there's gonna be a lot of information in there for you. That will be the Google Classroom that carries you through the end of this year and all through next year. All right. See you?
Okay, so, as you can see, we're already thinking about you coming up to us, we're already starting to plan, so what are kind of the steps that happen next? So, actually, I'm already starting to gather information from your current teachers about how you are performing in your classes so that we can have an understanding about what academic classes make the most sense for you for your 9th grade year, okay? So, we are coming back and we're gonna have a one-on-one session with each one of you. The dates that we're coming back are in a couple of weeks, January 31st, February 1st, and February 2nd. We're meeting with one language arts teacher per day. Kind of keep those days in mind, and as much as possible, try not to be absent on those days so that we can make sure that we have our meeting. I will tell you though, every year, obviously, we do have students who are absent, and it's not as if we forget about you. We make sure that we loop back and gather information from you to make sure that we're still working on putting together the schedule. Okay? There's a lot of information that you're going to find in Mrs. Martin's Google Classroom that she's invited you to. I do put a lot of information up on the guidance and school counseling website as well. We want to make sure that you are informed about kind of the classes that you are going to be taking and can take. Before you leave today, we're going to give you a program of studies. In that program of studies, it lists all of the courses that 9th graders can take with a little bit of a description, so that you understand, hey, they keep talking about this world cultures as a social studies. What does that mean? Or I'm supposed to pick electives. How do I even know what they're about? All of that information is going to be in the program of studies for you to be able to review. The only course descriptions you're going to find in this booklet that we're giving out to you are classes that 9th graders can take. So there's no confusion. You can't, pick something that's a senior-only class. We just make sure we're giving you information that pertains to 9th graders. So, like I said, information about academic classes is going to come from your teachers. And when we sit down to meet with you, we're going to say, hey, here's the math class that you're taking next year. Here's the science class that you're taking. But we also need some feedback from you. We need to talk with you about which world language you're looking to take at the high school level. If you're taking Spanish or Italian right now and you wish to continue with that, that's fantastic. We'll let you know what the appropriate placement is. If you're looking to make a change to your language, that is also possible. And I want to remind you that Latin is an option for our 9th graders at the high school. There's a description for that course in the program of studies that we're going to hand out. So we'll tell you about your English, your math, your science, your social studies class. You'll share with us which world language you would like to take next year, and we'll let you know which class is appropriate. And then we'll get information from you about what electives you're looking for. We're going to be sending you out a Google form, probably by the end of this week. Within that form, you're going to indicate to us your top 5 choices for electives. Now, I'm asking for 5. I'm not going to put 5 in your schedule. Remember, there's room for 2 more classes in your schedule. The reason why we ask for 5 is we need some backups. We kind of call it your wish list. What are you hoping to see? With the understanding that sometimes we can't always make that fit for students. I promise you right now, we try our best to give everyone their top choice, but sometimes that's not possible. Because even if you told us, oh, Ms. Blackman, I've heard so much about that digital photography class at the high school, I am dying to take it, that is my top choice. If that digital photography class meets the same time as your math class, guess which class I'm putting in your schedule? I'm giving you math class, okay? And then I'll see what other elective choices I have that I can put into your schedule. So we try to get some feedback from you. We ask for some backups. We even ask for some backups. It's very, very important that you fill out that Google form so that we have your backup. And that's what we'll discuss at our meetings when we meet in January 31st, February 1st, or February 2nd. Again, my students who think that they're going to be going to private school next year, that's fine. We ask you to please fill out that form as well. We just in case you change your mind, we want to be ready for you. The other thing that I want to point out is that sometimes you'll see that classes run for either a full year or a semester. A full year is exactly what it sounds. You would have that class for the entire year. So for instance, If you are in band and you want to take band, band runs for the entire year. But sometimes we run half-year classes or semester classes, so we would need actually 2 semester classes to make a full year class for you. So if you're interested in taking, for instance, our basic foods class, which meets for a semester, you might also want to take our international foods class, which you can take for the second half of the year. So when you're making options, just we want you to understand what the difference is between full year and half year. Okay. Over the summer, we want you to know that you will have a summer reading assignment for your English class. You will likely have to read 2 books. This is a big portion of your grade for marking period 1. Again, I know it seems like I'm talking about things in the future and you're like, what is this lady talking about? We're still in 8th grade. A lot of times we have students who sort of disregard this summer assignment, don't complete it, and we find that their first marking period grades really suffer. So we want to put the word out now that that is information that you are definitely going to want, all right? So you don't want to start off in a hole. You definitely want to make sure that you read the actual book, not any Spark Notes, Cliff Notes, summaries that you find online, okay? And then again, beware of any deadlines that might come up over the summer if you are interested in fall sports. So those are things that happen over the summer before you even get there. And then also, what happens in September is we always have an orientation for our 9th graders. We actually bring you in a day or so before the first day of school. We have a really nice program plan. We introduce you to some peer leaders in the building. We show you where your locker is. We give you a tour of the building so that you can start to get a little bit of a lay of the land before the first day of school, so that when you do come in that first day, things feel a little bit familiar to you and you feel a little bit more comfortable, okay? And then just a little bit of business that we want to make sure that you understand. Classes begin at 8:05 at the high school. That's actually kind of late for most high schools in this area. When the bell rings at 8:05, you need to be in that first class of yours. So you definitely should plan to arrive ahead of 8:05 because you don't want to be marked late to class. I would say the majority of our students start arriving to school around 7:45, 7:50. That gives you plenty of time to get in the building, get to your locker, check in with some of your friends, and make sure that you get to your class on time. And then we end at 2:57. That's the end of our day. Okay. So you might want to think about that a couple of weeks before school starts. Start training yourself to make sure that you can get to school on time. Okay. And that's it. This is your new school, guys. We are very much looking forward to you joining us. We're really excited about it. Okay. We have a little bit of time. So I think we're going to try to do a little question answer. Yeah.
All right, so I just want to reiterate something that Ms. Blackman said, because a lot of my 9th graders were really disappointed this year because they thought they were going to Burger King when we met to talk about electives. They actually said to me, I ordered those 2 classes, and I was like, but nah, you wished for them like Santa Claus. Okay? When we meet to talk about your electives, please understand that you are telling me what you are hoping for. I will do my best to make sure that you get one of your top choices, but I absolutely cannot guarantee all of your top choices. Okay? I really need you to understand that because I don't want you to come in next year and be really disappointed. Because the truth is, over the summer, we're probably not making any changes to your electives. What you get is what you get, all right? I'm just trying to manage your expectations there. It's not Burger King, you don't get it your way. It's kind of like asking Santa for stuff. Maybe you get it, okay? All right. We know you have lots of questions. I want to remind you that we're going to put this presentation up on the Google Classroom. I also want to remind you that we are talking to your parents tomorrow night. So make sure that they come so they hear all the same things, all right? And maybe even a little more information for them.
That's going to be via Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
You just need for your parents to just log in. You don't even need to leave the house.
They can be in their PJs. We won't be able to see them. It's totally fine. Thanks for not wearing PJs today, by the way. All right. Is anybody brave enough to ask the question that they have on their mind? What's your question?
Is that all that begins at 8 o'clock?
Is that what?
Does our first class begin at 8 o'clock?
Your first class begins at 8 o'clock. We don't actually have a homeroom, you just go to your classes. Okay, so your first class that gives you grades starts at 8:05. Oh, the test for geometry honors. Ms. Blackman, do you know off the top of your head, is it the 9th? I think it's the 9th. I will put that on Google Classroom at some point today or tomorrow, okay? All right, question? Oh. But you need to make sure that you sign up. Also, if you are someone who's doing well in your ELA class and your history class, and you like talking about current topics, I really encourage you to sign up for that honor seminar class. All right, the point of honor seminar is to give you, it does take an elective slot, but it gives you a chance to kind of build up some of those skills if you're thinking that you might want to take honors or AP classes later. All right, plus it's just a kind of a cool class. Most of my 9th graders have really enjoyed taking it. You need to let your teacher know that you want to be considered for it, okay? All right, other questions? Well, there is boys tennis in the spring. There's girls tennis in the fall and then boys tennis in the spring. It was down on the bottom, so maybe it was hard to see. Ms. Blackman, you wanted to say something?
I did want to just say about the 9th grade honors seminar and the geometry honors for anyone who's in Algebra 1. Even if you're not sure, you're like, I kind of think I want to take geometry honors, but I'm not 100% sure, please sign up. Let us know your interest. Let us gather feedback from your teacher. Because you can keep thinking about it. And when we meet with you, you might say, hey, you have the recommendation for the honors seminar. And you can say, Ms. Blackman, I changed my mind, I'm not interested. That's fine. It's not a commitment. So just let us know you're interested so we can make sure that we gather the appropriate feedback. The other thing that we want to say is, and this has come up before, if you are in band or chorus or orchestra, that does count as an elective. So that should be one of the options that you indicate on your survey that you'd like to have in your schedule. I'm going to say the same thing though that Ms. Martin did again. We work really hard to give students their top choice, to get them into music, but it's a request only, it's not a guarantee. Because again, the only thing that I can guarantee is I make sure that I get into your schedule every year all of the academic classes that you need to meet all of your graduation requirements at the end of 4 years. And that means if you don't get an elective in your schedule next year as a 9th grader, we do have 3 more years to make sure that you get that into your rotation. Okay? More questions? What's up? No, you have to take 2 electives. You may not ditch 1 class period. The 9th graders do not get study halls, so don't ask for that. That's like a junior, senior thing that we offer. Okay? So 9th graders must fill out their schedule. Any other questions? All right, you can always ask your school counselors here if you have questions and you're comfortable reaching out to them. They will help you. And if they don't know the answer, they'll send it to me or to Ms. Blackman and we'll be able to help you. All right? But from this point forward, I'm kind of an extra school counselor for you in terms of scheduling and things like that. Okay? If you're crying in school, please see Mr. Kazmaier or Ms. Nogales, but if you have a question about your schedule, you're welcome to send me an email also or ask me in Google Classroom. All right. What we would like to do is hand out your program of studies, and we also have a little blue sheet that highlights, sorry, I'm trying to grab one, that highlights some of the things that we talked about today, things to remember, and then it also kind of gives you some information about your classes, what you might expect to take. All right, so we're going to hand those out now. Please stay in your seats, and then you'll be dismissed when the bell rings. So